So you're probably clicking this video wondering why I would title it the way I have, considering the fact that Porsche definitely, without a doubt, is probably one of the best at engineering top tier vehicles. And I feel like I'm going to go through this whole video and I'm going to show you guys exactly why I think the way I do. And I can guarantee by the end of this video, not only are you going to understand where I'm coming from, but you're going to agree with me. So without further ado, let's start it up. So Porsche have had some issues with emissions, meaning that they can't make cars that are significantly more powerful than their predecessors. So if we're looking at this GT3, it's still a flat six like the predecessor. It's still naturally aspirated like the predecessor, so it doesn't have a turbocharged engine, it doesn't have a supercharged engine, none of that. It only has 2 more horsepower than the predecessor, and it only has 7 more pound-feet of torque. So looking at that, you're like, if the engine is exactly the same as the predecessor, why not just buy the previous model, which is probably going to be cheaper now that the new model has come out, and save yourself some money? Of course, looking at the car too, and you compare it to the predecessor, for the most part, they kind of look the same, so you could probably get away with that. But I feel like this is where the engineers make their money. Despite not having a more powerful engine, despite the car sort of being more or less the same as far as the specs of it, there's certain features that set it so far apart from its predecessor that it's almost in its own tier. The biggest thing that sets this car apart is the aero. I'm going to highlight specifically the rear end of this vehicle. Because if we look right here, we can see that not only have they added on a ducktail spoiler on the end, but they also have swan neck spoilers as well. And they're manually adjustable. So for the factory setting, if you're just driving around the city, you're going to be gaining 510 extra pounds of downforce. And downforce is really what sets this car apart from its predecessor. So with that 510, that's 50% more than the previous model. And if we're talking about when you're optimizing it for maximum performance, we're talking about 850 pounds of downforce, which is 150% more downforce than its predecessor. It's a sort of situation where if you were to take this car around the track and you essentially went flat out around the corner, the car would do everything you want it to do. So it's not going to understeer, it's not going to oversteer, because everything is so perfectly and precisely measured to ensure that the car sticks to the road. And additionally, even though it has your sports bucket seats, at the end of a whole day of driving, you're still not going to be sore. Your back isn't going to be paining you. You could probably go for another day's worth of driving. And I feel like Porsche, when it comes to engineering, when it comes to optimizing the best vehicles to enhance the experience of the driver, I feel like there's really no one who does it better. And so now you guys are probably wondering, then why would I say that you guys shouldn't buy this car? And I'm saying that because if you were to buy this car, there's probably very few that would be able to give you as good an experience driving around the track or daily driving as this particular 2020 GT3. Because honestly, you could buy a Pagani Huayra for several $1 million. You could buy a Bugatti Chiron for several $1 million. And none of those cars are going to give you quite the same amount of engineering despite the amount of money you're spending. Which is why, as some of you might know, Porsches by a long shot are my favorite cars. Because as an engineer myself, I love the technology, I love the attention to detail, I love the fact that they're more willing to invest in the engineering of the car than just slap in a big engine and just be like, all right, here you go. That's why I don't necessarily love muscle cars. I understand the appreciation for them, but as an engineer, I just love the ingenuity that's used and the innovation that's used to create cars like this one. So wrapping this video up, I feel like, again, if you were to buy this car, there's really nowhere to go from here, because you're getting the best engineers working on one of the best car brands in the world. And it's something you really can't replicate in any other car brand, regardless of how much money you spend. So that's that for this video. I'm hoping you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.